Yo, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to episode 33 of the Casual Weebs podcast. I mean, dude, this week of anime was absolutely phenomenal. I am so excited, especially because we have some new ones that are be coming out over the next week or two, which I am stoked for. Speaking of that, dropped a video last week about Arcane, why you should watch it. And you know what? It brought up a very fun topic. Don't take this too seriously, but love to know your opinions in the comments below. What makes an anime? Right? Because I called Arcane an anime. Do I believe it is? Don't really know, don't really care. The reason why I said it was an anime is because one, technically it is. Anime is just animation. But two, I wanted to reach the anime community because it is such a cool show. It's really good and it shows the potential that anime could reach because it has a ton of money invested into it. They actually took the proper amount of time to animate it and to produce it. And it's like, oh, this is what anime could be if they just put more time and money into it. And they could make more money, let's be honest. Everything overseas is completely just like, what is it, like second market type stuff. It's not like from, like, if I buy Spy Family merch, it's not from the people that run Spy Family. They are not getting that money. It's from other people kind of like creating it, right? So they could make a lot more, but regardless. It's really, really good, but then it brings up that question where people are like, hey, dude, this isn't an anime, and other people are like, it is. So, I'd love to know your opinions in the comments down below. What do you think makes up an anime? Like, what makes an anime an anime?
That's a very good question. So, like, my first thought was exactly what you said. It just means like animation.
Yeah,
You're like
very general,
animating,
yeah.
but like, would you call, like, Batman Begins, like the animated Batman? Would that be an anime? Like, it's not traditional Japanese manga or like comics turned into like a thing, but is that the definition? I don't really
But
think
then
so.
solo leveling. That's where that argument comes in. That counter is that, like, oh, it's like, oh, well, anime is, Japanese manga. That's then animated. That's what an anime is. But then you have solo leveling. That was Korea's version of a manga that it got adapted to an anime. People are always calling that anime. It's not Japanese though. Same thing with animes like Link Click. That's I forget the name of these, but like that's China's version of manga. So technically, America's version of manga would be comic books. Would you call a comic book that got animated an anime? That's where like it
Maybe
becomes a
not.
fun.
Like,
Exactly. That's the thing where like it becomes this very like anime isn't defined, right? There's no definition that makes up, hey, what's an anime? So that's what kind of makes the topic kind of like fun to discuss. Like, to you personally, what do you think is an anime? But yeah, it definitely, guys, don't take it too serious because I saw some people absolutely fuming on Reddit trying to decide who's right and who's wrong. I'm like, it's not that serious, just enjoy it. But yeah, it is something that I think is really kind of cool because yeah, there's a lot of counter arguments.
and it's gotten a lot bigger, like in the West.
Hmm.
Just I guess here in America, for an example, like you have places like Netflix and Hulu coming up with originals, and some of them are mangas that have been adapted, but some Western authors are starting to like kind of break through and production studios. And it's funny you said that. I actually read on Reddit people were trashing Uzumaki and Blue Lock for the animation just because like they only had so much time or like their budget or whatever,
Hmm.
which opened up this whole argument about Western studios and stuff. And I'm like, it gets to be a lot, like if you go down that rabbit hole. But either way, I still think it's good to see what's get putting out and like the overall quality. We've talked about it a ton on this podcast of anime in general has totally gotten better compared to 10 or 20 years ago. It's like a huge industry now. But you're definitely right. Like when you're buying merch and stuff, it's probably going to Bandai or whoever's like selling that stuff more so than like the artist of the
Well,
anime or the manga.
it's also people just in their basements just creating T-shirts. You know what I mean? And they're the ones selling it.
Very
Like
true.
that's the problem is that like Japan doesn't care about anything else. They're kind of like, we just want Japanese people to love anime and manga. We're gonna make it very accessible for them, make it very easy. Like you go to Japan, it's all over the place. Very easy to buy stuff, very exclusive there. So like everyone else can go screw themselves. They actually have that kind of like philosophy too when it comes to anime in general. I feel like they kind of just like, again, it's hard to kind of tell because you don't know like the rights of like the streaming, how that works. But like with their deal with Crunchyroll or whatever. But like you can just tell like they're very inefficient with their money. Like again, pop stars in Japan, they only stick in Japan. Where in America, if like a band or a singer, they go worldwide. Right, they go and look for that big money there, while Japan doesn't really care. So if Japan went worldwide and was kind of like, hey, like let's make it like so it's easily accessible to buy manga in other countries, they'd make so much. Same thing with merch, same thing with just access in general to anything. So I feel like there is so much profit that's being missed out on. If you do have like anime apparel, chances are it's from someone who kind of just took the image, put it onto a T-shirt, and then sold it.
That's a really good point. And I feel like a lot of some of those like business practices are more conservative or traditional, we'll say, without getting too much into it. But I just know from having followed Kagurabachi the last few months, like it's not terribly popular in Japan, compared to something like Spy Family or, One Piece, where like they're a giant commercial success. But like the international manga community has really like driven sales up, but that doesn't really I was going to say it just doesn't like impact like the view of that manga in Japan just because it's famous or like really successful internationally. But obviously if it's driving sales, it's going to get out there and get more popular. But you're definitely right about that. Their philosophy is very like unique to them, I think.
Yeah, and that's
Good
the
and
thing.
bad.
That's the thing to me that like kind of it gets annoying because like if you don't care and people are just kind of taking your image, putting it onto a t-shirt and selling it, I'll still buy it. I don't care if you get the money or not. But then that's what really sucks when you then hear about studios that are just like overworked employees. You know what I mean? They're taking people that like they need double or triple the amount of animators and they're not, and they're just making them work 24/7. And it's like, dude, like you could easily have so much more money in this industry and hire way more people. That's where you look at something like Arcane and you see the production value and you're like, oh my god, if anime can get to this point, that would be insane. Because they actually, Riot makes some insane games that just brings in just an fu amount of money, so they're able to just pour so much into this, have the proper amount of people on the job, the proper amount of time, and then you created something that's just, yeah, like this is amazing, this is really good. So that's why I made that video. Wanted to show the anime community because I feel like unless you like play League of Legends, you're not going to know about this anime. And again, I'm going to call it anime because it feels like one. But dude, so good. You definitely got to check it out. It's very, very good. But also, let us know in your personal opinion down in the comments below. What do you think makes up an anime? To be honest, I'm kind of more on board with like if it gets adapted from something that's manga-like. Again, that might be counter argument with like American comic books. I don't see that. I wouldn't call that an anime. I think it's more of the Asian kind of style. But like again, it's completely up in the air. There's no definitive right or wrong answer.
I think the last thing I'll say on it is like if you kind of look at how like Marvel and DC and Spider-Man and like those franchises are adapted, it's usually a movie or like The Flash. Like I feel like at least America goes more Hollywood, whereas like I guess like you had mentioned Chinese and Korean mangas, like I guess that feels like more like a week to week, 12 to 24 episode season series rather than like going straight for movies. Like only the biggest animes, Demon Slayer and Fate are coming out with like movies that hit theaters because I still feel like it's kind of niche in a way.
Yeah, and in a way, it seems like it might take that route more because ever since Demon Slayer kind of popped off in theaters, it seems like more people are taking that route. We saw Blue Locks getting a movie that's going to be out. Spy Family did the same thing. That movie was awesome. But yeah, it's just really cool. And speaking of going back to the animation, I did see people talk about Blue Locks animation, and I kept an eye on that for this second episode, which we are going to be getting into. Would they have? What were you saying about like Western studios? Is Blue Lock being animated by Western Studio?
I know Uzumaki is, and like I didn't watch it yet because I was just gonna watch all 4 episodes at once. But like the clips I saw, the animation was definitely like a step down from the first episode. I can't do that, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and trash people, but there
Yeah.
was like a lot of rumors of them being rushed or like the budget had to be focused on like certain episodes and like certain matches or whatever rather than like trying to make the best possible product, which I guess in any industry is kind of like just how it goes, you know what I mean? Nothing can be perfect all the time.
Mm.
Or if you're comparing to something like Bleach, which has been in the works for like a ton of years and has like a lot of source material. um it's tough if you're not like in that industry to really know, but I did read a lot about that, and Blue Lock was one that came up. They kind of got rushed or had to like focus their budget on certain aspects of the season rather than the whole season itself.
Yeah, like going and looking at Blue Lock is that like I didn't notice the biggest difference looking at episode two. I did see some scenes where just like, oh yeah, that's not like the top tier. But the thing about Blue Lock is it doesn't have like the most primo prestige Demon Slayer level animation. You know what I mean? So like it's not
It doesn't
that
need it.
noticeable, and where you want it, it still has it. You know what I mean? Let's not
Yes.
forget that people still complained in season one about the animation as well. There was a lot of scenes that from the manga that people didn't like how it got adapted, and they didn't appreciate that. So there has been, disagreements with the animation ever since season one. So this isn't anything new with Blue Lock, and I think where it counts and in the matches, you definitely still see that little bit of taking extra time. When they have the flames kind of coming out of the eyes or the aura, that still hits hard. And you got to imagine, yeah, it's going to be Blue Lock versus U20, that's not going to be a 1 episode game. That is going to be like a 2 to 3 episode holy shit match that's going to have some top of the line animation. They probably saved a lot of the time and budget for that because that's going to be absolutely insane, especially from what we've seen just in the second episode. Should we just get right into Blue Lock and talk about that one first since we're already on the topic?
Perfect segue. Let's do it.
Perfect. Totally line that up, boys. Totally playing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, looking at the new characters, that one dude with the antennas, that they call him, they keep calling him Antenna Guy.
Pink
Bro,
antennas, yeah.
what a beast. Like, I think that he's absolutely insane. He's interesting, especially because they even kind of point out that he's not that good except when it comes to scoring. They're like, him, like, dribbling, kind of passing defensively, he's kind of weak. It's just that he's built beautifully for scoring. So I thought that was really kind of cool and really interesting from the number 2 guy.
Yeah, like you would expect them to be more, like, well-rounded or whatever.
Like Ren, or Reem, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, he's kind of like second rate everywhere, but when it comes to scoring goals, and then like shortly after that, they have that cut where he just like bursts through the middle and scores that ridiculous goal. It's like, that was sick.
Yeah.
But the whole episode did a really good job of kind of like pointing out the top six's like strengths and what makes them better than everybody else, and then kind of how the other guys have to, be agreeable and like I forget the word they used, for them to like mesh well, but also stand out and like assist these top 6 guys in winning these matches. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was really sick, and it is real. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody can be a superstar, like number 1 overall. Like, you have to adapt to the situation in whatever sport you're playing. I definitely thought that was sick. And I didn't think the animation was bad. I feel like people see CGI and are like, oh, they took the easy way out. But I think you said it perfectly. Like, when it counts and like the big moments, Blue Lock had some sick animations.
Yeah, I feel like Isagi just kind of looked weird in a couple of frames or shots, and like they weren't like important ones either. So I was like, okay, who cares? You know what I mean?
It doesn't like detract from the total episode or like the value of it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was like, ugh.
Yeah, but staying on those 2 points with what you were saying, looking at Isagi, how do you feel about him, especially going into this season? I feel like we're always seeing him down, kind of being like, you're the average guy, there's nothing special about you, you're a nobody, and then he puts the pieces together, you see the puzzle connect, and then he becomes this beast, and then he triumphs, and he wins, and he pushes forward, but then we're back at square one, where it's like, okay, you're just an average nobody, you can't do shit, and you're being kind of stuffed in this game. Like, do you think that that's kind of getting annoying at this point, where it's like, hey, what happened to that? What happened to Isagi, finding his way, finding his direct shot, his incredible force, his sight, you know what I mean? Like what happened to that? Why is he the average again? I think that is something that might get a little annoying if he keeps going back to square one at the start of everything. But at the same time too, let's be honest, that dude, okay, what was his name? The assassin. Picking him, I also feel like that kind of like counterpoints what he's saying. But he's sitting there, he's like, Isagi, you're average, you're a nobody. You're just elevated to your teammates around you because they're really good. But you as a whole, you just as an individual, you suck. Like, you're a nobody. So I'm going to stuff you out. Like, I'm going to make sure you don't get any attention in this game. But I'm like, buddy, if he was a nobody, if he really couldn't do anything, why are you giving him so much attention? You know what I mean? I feel like this episode is going to, or like this match, I should say, is going to really kind of push him, because I feel like Isagi is the piece between the number 1 and number 2 guy. They completely clash. They can't have any cohesion. I think that's the word you were looking for earlier. They have no cohesion, and it's like Isagi's the guy who can put that together. He can see the whole field. He can match people's personalities. That's what he did with the king. Remember, he was like, oh, like, you want to devour? I'll fucking devour you, bitch. And he did, and that's what ended up making that work. So I feel like this is gonna be the point where it's like, hey man, you gotta like evolve just one more time. You gotta push forward just one more time to crack this per se top 10. You know what I mean? Where you can like stand somewhat close to these guys, find a way to get the number 1, number 2 to connect, and when they can have that cohesion, they're going to be unstoppable. I can't wait to see that from Isagi, but like, I definitely want to see him continue to like push forward and be strong instead of just, hey, you're back to average Joe, man.
Now, you make a really good point, because like this whole episode, I think you kind of see it when he meets these new teammates. Like, they get along well, they're like respectful and formal to each other. Boys. And he has that scene, they're all like, this is like, like a gentle situation, and then it like shows all the people who are like, I'm going to kill you, you suck, you're average. He's like, it's been overwhelmingly grim or whatever so far. But you're definitely right. Like, Isagi's like timid and a little bit like, I don't know, I don't want to say he comes off as weak, but even against people like he's played well against, like he has that conversation with Baru, like while they're brushing their teeth or whatever, and like he recognizes how good he can be. So like, I don't know why he doesn't like kind of own that and accept that. Yeah, you have growth and like you have room to grow, but like you're still a solid player. And then we see it like their backs are kind of against the wall, and he like locks in, and you see the puzzle pieces getting put together, and he's like, I need to make these two guys mesh so my team can win. And that's how he's going to stand out rather than just trying to force his way against all these like super good players. Because that's the thing, like you're exactly right. Eventually, you're going to have to like be able to stand on your own 2 feet side by side with these guys because you know what you're aiming for with with the U20 and everything. So he's got to find a way to like kind of own his identity because he can be a monster, but like I think he needs to embrace that a little more. And hopefully that's kind of what we get to see more of him in season 2, kind of embracing that beast that he can be.
The crazy thing is that he's like more of like a coach. That's the problem. Is that like he's got that sight. He can see everything. He knows how to put the pieces together, how to put people in the right spots to have success. He knows how to find the path to the goal that he keeps saying. But the problem is that his body's still the problem, right? He's not big. He's not like physical. So it's very easy to overwhelm him and to like outstrength him. You know what I mean? Like the guy, these guys kept getting in his way and kept forcing him, out. He kept wedging himself between Izaki and the ball, which became a huge problem. His dribbling isn't the best. It's not like he can just dangle people. His shot isn't outstanding. That's why he can, get there for that direct shot and use his sight to give him that, like, kind of like a one-timer per se. But physically, he's still just not there. And once he gets that physicality where like, okay, I have the sight, but I also can be there in the game and kind of step in, that's where you're going to see an absolute beast. And I feel like that's the one thing that he really still needs to work on. But I'm really excited to see how this plays out. The 2 new characters, well, the number 3 and number 4 on the other team, the ninja and the assassin, I think are so fucking cool. I think they are absolutely awesome. Our boy, I forget his name, starts with a C, but the speed demon, I love that he connected. Yeah, Chigiri. I love that he connected. He got that speed. He's like, all right, middle's congested. I'm gonna go on the outside, and he just turns on the jets, and they're like, yo, I fuck with this kid. Like, what's it called? Ego wanted cohesion, and he just fit right in, just perfect. And it's just really cool. I'm really excited too to see the next episode. I feel like the match is going to end next episode, and because it's the first of 5, and they're at 4. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to see how Isiki kind of like, clicks, how he gets everything to connect, because we do see him kind of like figure it out at the very end. His eyes like turn green and he's like, I got it. I figured it out. We can win. Right? So it's going to be really cool. But let's not forget that there's characters still missing. The 2 other guys that were with on the other team, we have yet to see them even once. And we're still missing the one kid on Isagi's team. We saw the blue-haired kid. He seems really cool. It's cool how he's kind of like a copycat. But like the other guy, we have yet to see him too. So there's a lot of people in the match that just haven't shown up yet.
Yeah, I felt like they spent most of the time kind of focusing on the top 4 guys, like, and showing their strengths as they scored the 6 goals.
Yeah,
which was really cool because, like, dude, they are so badass. The assassin, really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And like, you're definitely right. That's the first thing Isagi brings up. Like, he uses his arms to kind of create space and keep guys from getting in too close. And even when he tries to like, kind of stay shoulder to shoulder with him, he's like, oh, he's so much stronger. Like, I can't just overpower him. I'm gonna have to figure another way out. Which kind of
he hasn't overpowered anybody in this entire show. I feel like that's the one thing that he always notices. He's like, someone bumps into him, he's like, oh my god, they're like a rock. I can't overpower them. It's like, bro, you haven't overpowered anybody. Everyone's outmuscled you this entire fucking anime. I hate to break it to you, bud.
Yeah, that's so funny. And like these guys are all jacked. Like everybody's super ripped, and he's just like, yeah. Can't get through that guy. It's like, yeah, no shit.
And they're all way taller than him too. He looks like a child next to half these people. They just tower over him.
Yeah, and like it'll be interesting to see kind of how the other guys affect the rest of the game, because I do think you're right, it'll end next match, but Isagi's obviously going to have to pull out some cool moves here, because we know they're not going to lose 5-2, right? So we're going to have to see something from them that like makes them stand out, because really for me the only like big moment was what you brought up, Chigiri fucking using his speed on the end of the field, like the outside, and just cutting through to work with those 2 top guys. And that's exactly what Ego said he wanted to see, that cohesion. So that was a really cool moment, but it's got to be Isagi's turn. Team 1A's got to get it together, but it'll be really cool to see how the rest of the match plays out.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be really cool. The one crappy thing is that, like, there was a lot of things that were like there was some nice twists within Blue Lock. You know what I mean? The stuff we weren't expecting, but like Isagi making it to the U20 game is kind of a given. So they're gonna have to win this match. I really don't see a way where they lose it, and he still finds a way to make it there. You know what I mean? And also, it's gonna drag the match on longer. We can see the other characters, and we can see a lot more action, which is, it seems like it's gonna take that route. It was a surprise to see him kind of go first, but what is it, Chigiri? I love the memes of him because you've seen it, right? Quintessential quintuplets.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the one.
And the one guy, he mentions it. He's like, "Oh, you're pretty good for a girl." He's like, "I'm a boy, you know." It's like, very nicely done there.
I love that. If you guys haven't seen it, Quintessential Quintuplets is an anime about like these 5 girls who all look very identical. They're all quintuplets. They all look the same. They kind of look like Chigiri. It's a kind of insane. So they're like one of them evolved, went to Blue Lock, like grew up and went to Blue Lock because one of them is super athletic. So
oh, that's so true. That's so good.
That's like the joke of the meme. So I thought that was really funny that they brought that up. Like, hey, like you play soccer well for a girl. It's like, yeah,
I'm a boy, you know. That was perfect. I love when they I don't know, authors and like animators and all them are in touch with like the community because that was definitely funny.
I don't know if they were relating it to that or what, but I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about Blue Lock before we move on?
Nah, I think you're right. It's kind of we have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen, but it'll still be really sick to see how it plays out and kind of how Isagi finds his way forward and kind of out of this situation because their backs are against the wall for sure.
Yeah. But let's go into I'm so excited about it for next week. It's gonna be sick, especially that match ending. It's gonna be there's gonna be some sick fucking goals. We're gonna see some awesome scenes. The puzzle connecting, him being a mastermind and just taking out the assassin and the ninja. It's gonna be awesome. But let's go into DanDaDan. What an episode!
There's a lot to unpack there,
so much to unpack, bro. I absolutely love it. So he does have a new name, which is kind of funny. She doesn't like calling him Ken anymore, so she gave him a new one. And like, I love the scene between that. Like, they're such like cool friends. Again, their chemistry is like awesome. Where she's like, oh, like let me see your face, and he's like acting all embarrassed. She's like, oh, so you do like the name?
Yeah.
Like, that was a cool little scene to start it off with. But I mean, the anime just kind of sped up in episode 2, where we saw that massive fight, which was absolutely awesome. That was actually so cool to watch.
Yeah, like their teamwork in combat kind of reflects like their chemistry outside of it. Like they work really well together, and even though they're kind of like still figuring stuff out, I felt like Momo was really badass. She definitely like. I don't know, she comes off as kind of like maybe not the sharpest, but she definitely is too. Like she really does kind of have like good awareness, and I still want to call him Ken, but she's definitely not with that.
That's Ken.
That's Ken, dude.
Like she can kill him all she wants. That's Ken. Like that's our boy. All right, we're gonna defend that man. And like, I love you. Like yeah, like she doesn't seem the sharpest, but she definitely is. She's very aware, bro. Are you kidding me? The barrier when they first walk into it, and he bursts into fucking flames.
Yeah, and she's like, she takes it off
and that one.
She takes it off and puts it on the table and is like, it'll only be for a couple minutes. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, she missed so many things. She missed the barrier in the first place, so he burst into flames. So she takes it off and then completely forgot to put it back on. So then they get invaded by a goddamn alien. And then you have that whole fight scene. That fight was sick. I mean, his new, like, alter ego, his new personality... Dude, you know what? I didn't realize it until afterwards, and I saw like stuff on YouTube, like shorts and stuff. Bro, people are like comparing it to like Denji, him when he's like the Chainsaw Man, and people were like comparing the two, and I'm like, yo, that actually is like sick. You know what I mean? Because they're talking about like, oh, like how he matches up with Denji and like who's stronger, faster, whatever. And I was like, dude, this is gonna be sick. So is he gonna stay like that? And he's gonna have this other form that has this other personality, and he's gonna be super strong, and it's gonna be like that's how they're gonna fight, and they're gonna fight these aliens and ghosts and stuff. And like that's gonna be a really cool anime if that's the case.
I could definitely see the hype behind it because like the design and everything was really cool, but like how that whole fight was in black and white with that like black poison fog, I thought was really sick. It was like a nice touch, kind of made it creepy, gave it like that weird ambiance. I was like super blown away with his like other form because I didn't even know about that. Dude, he looked so badass, and like he just talks different. He has like a whole different persona with it, and he's like, I don't know, super depressed. He's like a total downer. It's like pretty funny.
Yeah, our girl's gotta watch out.
To see that.
Our girl's gotta watch out because that's the personality that she likes, that she's into. He's got the same name now, and now he's got the personality that she said to the quiet, type that like can kick some fucking ass. That's him now. And I liked how he kept saying the lines of Ken, like from the anime or manga that she was reading that she's obsessed with. He kept reciting those lines. She's like, stop saying that, like stop, like, like it was just like, bro, you can just tell she's gonna fall head over heels for him. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like I hope they're still able to maintain like the same kind of like dynamic that they have, even if they do develop like romantically, which I'm not opposed to. I really like what they got going on right now, and it'll be cool to see them kind of navigate this situation together. And then obviously like she knows kind of like the lore, I guess, behind the ghost of Turbo Granny that's cursed Ken. And yeah, obviously she brings up that his manhood is gone, and like he's like going through it and stuff. But like it's funny because she has this information and she's like, yeah, you didn't look, and he was just like, that scene was crazy but definitely pretty funny.
She's like, yo, let me see, like let me just check it out. If there's nothing there, like what are you embarrassed about? Like let me just check it out. Bro, so here's the thing too that I'm really excited about is that like that kind of shit's funny, and apparently the stuff that happened in episode 1 that was awkward, that was weird, apparently really doesn't happen throughout the rest of the series, because a couple people were talking about how they read the manga, really loved it, completely forgot that it was that first couple of chapters that were very like, what the fuck? Because then they're like, oh, it got animated, let me show people this, and then they showed people and they're like, oh shit, my bad, you know what I mean?
It's not like this all the time.
And they completely forgot like what the first episode was going to be like. So apparently, as we progress, we're not going to have stuff like that. It's going to be more like that kind of like not awkward, but just really funny comedy that we saw with like her trying to see his junk because it's just not there. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not the bad stuff. So I'm really excited to hear that, because if it was to be more like that, I'd probably end up stop watching it. But like if it's gonna stay more like episode 2 and stay on that kind of trajectory, episode 2 was perfect. Like episode 1, because of the weird stuff, like 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? It was all good except for that. Episode 2 just hit it right on the head. His new personality is fucking awesome. Their interactions were flawless. So funny. So good. She was awesome. I mean, the way that she used herself to, like, push a hole through the wall so then he was out of it so then they could, like, amazing. Dude, like, just so good, and it's just going to keep evolving. Again, we're still missing characters from, like, the wall art, like, the art of the show. So we're gonna have more characters be, have like bigger defining moments in it as well, or like we're gonna have more characters that are gonna have more like prominent roles that just haven't been shown up yet. And I also cannot wait to see how they interact at school. When they go back to school, I feel like that's gonna be a phenomenal episode to see like how they interact, kind of what happens. I feel like it's gonna be really funny, but I feel like that's not gonna be for another couple episodes.
Now you're probably right, and yeah, because we still gotta get introduced to a couple more. I don't know if they're classmates or just characters in general. I would assume they are. Obviously, we know her grandmother is coming back, so
she's not gonna like Ken.
No, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of interact and all that. But I'm definitely with you. Like, there's definitely some weird stuff in the beginning, or like the end of episode 1. And I always attribute some of that like to maybe a little bit of shock factor, and like you want to do something crazy to get people talking about it, like the first episode or whatever, like draw people in. But yeah, I feel like I'm confident it'll be more like episode 2, and like sure you always get your scenes here and there, like some perverted stuff, some fan service from time to time, but I'm definitely confident it'll be sick. Plus the characters are really good too, so I'm really excited to see how like these other classmates or whoever they are, kind of like fit into the mix.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be awesome. I think going back to school is going to be very interesting, very kind of cool to see. Again, the interactions are awesome, so I cannot wait to be introduced to these other 2 characters. I feel like they're going to just gel really well, too, and it's going to be really funny. It's going to be awesome, and our boy's going to be getting new friends. I mean, we kind of saw him down and out, and her like, oh, we're going to be like, we're not going to be friends anymore, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool, that's fine. She's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, who am I going to talk to about ghosts? Like, you chill out, man. I'm going to be friends with you because I want to be friends with you. You can't get rid of me. I was like, bro, don't lose her, man. Don't lose her. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's a person, whether it's a relationship or friendship, that, like, you do whatever you can to keep them around. That is a good fucking person in your life. So, he's a lucky man. He's an awesome dude. I cannot wait to see him get 2 new friends, which is gonna be awesome. I want to see my boy like just like be happy, man. I feel so bad for Ken, dude. Like,
yeah, he has a really good heart too. It's like you want to root for Ken. Like he's a good guy, and like everybody's like got their own quirks and like stuff that makes them a little different. You know, and he comes off as like a nerd and stuff. And I mean, maybe he is, but like
He's
still
is, but
really
there's nothing
like,
wrong with that though. That's the thing.
and he's like still really relatable to Momo. You know what I mean? She has like the stuff with her grandma and being like a spirit medium, so she can relate to that. But I also think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think Ken's life, especially like his social life at school, will get significantly better, which, you know, is obviously good for him. But as they develop this like dynamic and he gets more friends and stuff, I think it'll really kind of show him and show Momo like how important they are to him.
Yeah, and that's what I think is kind of funny too. Why people get like embarrassed or like they hide stuff that they like. It's like, bro, like you would be surprised like who likes that stuff. Like people would like aliens and stuff, but they don't say anything. It's like, oh, I want to be weird. Like bro's weird, but that's fine because look, he talked about it. He kind of showed people it, and other people are like, oh yeah, like dude, I kind of fuck with aliens or I like ghosts. You know what I mean? And you build those connections. You know, a lot of people it's like that with anime. Like not really as much anymore. But people are like, oh, I'm embarrassed, but it's like, oh, you know, anime that's weird. But then you talk about it, and someone's like, oh, dude, fucking this anime. Have you seen that? Oh my god, I have. Guess what? You have a friend for life now. You know what I mean? Like don't be embarrassed, guys. You like what you like. You'd be surprised how many other people like that shit too. So I thought that was really cool, and dude, I can't wait to see this guy like just, you know, get more, because in the first 2 episodes he got shit on. You know, he got a friend, but he got fucking cursed. He got his ass whooped like twice. He got burst into flames.
Loses his manhood. Like it couldn't really be worse for Ken. You know what I mean? Other than getting like a cool friend, it's a lot of L's for my guy.
It's like you got a friend, but you got abducted by aliens, you got attacked by a ghost and cursed, you lost your dick and balls. Like, was it fair? Was it a good trade? You got what you wanted, bro, but at what cost?
At what cost? Very expensive. It'll be cool to see kind of how he copes with everything. I mean, he's already kind of had it rough enough. I think he'll be fine, but
yeah,
it'll be cool to see his life get better and just kind of all the crazy shit they get into.
Yeah, like, dude, this anime has turned out to be, like, really, really good. Again, it's hard to, like, recommend because of the first episode. You gotta tell people, like, hey, just, like, skip it. Like, it's, like, it's interesting, but, like...
A casual fan would probably, like, I feel like, want to drop it, but if you can get past the weird shit, I feel like there's a lot of good out there.
Not necessarily the weird shit, it's just that, like, one part of the first episode. I feel like the rest of it is fine. I feel like the rest of it's like
you're right.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But that's what's like hard. It's an aggressive start. You know what I mean. It's something definitely to talk about. But then we're gonna have a couple more, and it's gonna be a nice couple more episodes. But speaking on moving on, guys, we are not gonna be talking about Blue Box this week. Next week,
I fucked up. You gotta check Netflix. I haven't had Netflix in a while, and I forgot. I knew something was missing.
You guys, we gotta check Netflix, we gotta check Crunchyroll and Hulu each week for new episodes, because you don't know what's gonna be happening, you know what I mean, bro? Dude, like, that's the thing. Like, I'll wait for stuff to come out on Crunchyroll, so I'm like, hey, when's this anime gonna drop? And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's a Netflix exclusive. Oh, it's a Hulu exclusive. Oh, it's just on High Dive. You know what I mean? It's so annoying, because you always just assume it's gonna be on Crunchyroll, but it isn't. I got so lost looking for episode 1 of Blue Box because of that. So again, guys, remember, Blue Box is on Netflix. Very, very good. You know, I hate to break it to Blake, but it was a great episode. It was such a good episode, bro.
Now, I was hoping you were like, when I asked you, I'm like, oh, was it good? Like, yeah, it was all right. Like, oh, yeah, I didn't miss anything. You're like, nah, it was sick.
Yeah, no, you missed quite a bit. But while you're on there, again, guys, there's a lot of great anime on there, including Arcane. Check it out. Really good. It's awesome. And if you guys aren't sure, I dropped that video again last week. It's 10 minutes long. I have a bunch of clips in there without spoiling anything, so you can see and be like, oh, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But let's move on to Miss Servant. And actually, let's do a little audible here. Have you been keeping up with My Hero Academia?
No, I haven't. I kind of like put like everything else on pause.
Yeah.
I'm just like checking out some of the new stuff this week. Like I was telling you about Yakuza Fiance, which I didn't have like high expectations for, but first 2 episodes were really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be back for week 3. But yeah, like I didn't watch Bleach or My Hero. I just kind of want to binge them. I feel like with those like shonens, I feel like it feels better to binge like the big fights and stuff.
Yeah, and like, see, that's what I'm trying to do. I have my schedule from last week. So I mean, last season, because you have to write a schedule down, or you're gonna lose track. There's too many great animes. So every time they end, I cross it off. So the 2 I have to catch up on or 3 from last season still is Mission, Yasukura Family, My Hero Academia, and Reincarnated Slime. At this point in the game, I'm just waiting for the dub. binged them. We're good. My Mission Yaizawa Family. I think I'm able to get everything except for the last episode. But I started going back and watching My Hero Academia because now the dub's caught up to where I left off at. And like honestly, you know, because again, dude, the list from this season is just building, and I'm adding Yasuku's fiance on. So next week we might be talking about that. So if you're watching it, keep a lookout. But dude, like My Hero Academia. I guess we can't go too much into it. The episode I just watched was the whole thing with Endeavor and Dabi. That finalized. That's over now. I don't know if you got to that point.
Right where, up to where, who is it? All Might is like about to, or I guess it's the other way around. One for All is going to run into All Might. You know what I mean? Even though he's quirkless. So it's like right after that, I think. Okay,
so that's the next episode, I'm guessing, because I keep seeing shorts about what's been going on the past couple of episodes. And I don't know how that's what got me to actually start watching it again. Because I'm not going to lie, you guys know, like, I'm not the biggest My Academia fan. I have my quarrels. So I kind of, like, stopped.
Same.
But I watched the short of, like, how the All For One fight might be ending. And I was like, what the fuck? So I started kind of going back to the dub of My Academia to kind of see, you know, what's up. And that's where I got the Endeavor Dabi finale. But, like, bro, like, you've read the manga, so, like, you know, like, what happens, right?
Yeah. Did somebody spoil it for you?
Well, no, I saw clips, because the episodes are out. So I'm seeing shorts. Yeah, the fucking mech All Might versus All For One happened. I was like, this isn't real, right? Like, All Might didn't just get a suit, he didn't become Iron Man and take him on. Like, did that actually happen, or is this a fan edit that we're going to have to just cut this out to not spoil?
No, a lot of that stuff happens, but that's not the end of it. I mean, I don't want to, like, spoil
I know that's not the end of it, but that's the latest episode that's come out.
Yeah, okay. I stopped right after, like, right before they were about to fight.
Bro, I don't know how I feel
so I might be too... It's like...
I haven't seen it yet, though. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm nervous.
It tries... and I got a lot of this from Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, it really tried hard at the end to, like, be really feel good. You know what I mean? The good guys win, good ending, happy. Mm-hmm. But, like, I feel like you lose some of the value that you've built up when you force that. You know what I mean?
The fact that, like, I didn't have any idea. The fact that, like, All Might right now is fighting All For One kind of fucking sucks. It just doesn't feel good. Like, he's become Iron Man, and now he's got plot armor, and now he's able to... Because, again, we talked about My Hero Academia, it's like plot armor versus plot armor, who's got the most.
Yeah, and like, if you sit back and think about it, he would have got folded. And I didn't watch that episode, but, like, dude, it's prime All For One. You know what I mean? He's got, like, all these quirks and shit. Like, it should be a no contest.
And all, like, it's not like All Might's this, like, incredible fighter. He just fucking punches. That's literally the only thing he does is punch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So him having an Iron Man suit, like, how is that going to help him? Like, there's no way. And he's, like, at the end of his life, too, because he's, like, extremely hurt. It's, like, it just makes no fucking sense. But one of the things that I was upset about seeing, because this would have been kind of cool, because, again, I haven't seen these episodes yet, is I saw the scene where Bakugo's back. And he's up now. He's been brought back. You see everyone on the ground kind of like unconscious, and now he's ready to go. And I'm like, oh, bro, I don't know how I feel about this. My Hero Academia is just all over the place, and you can just tell that they're just trying to cross the fucking finish line. And it's like, it's a train wreck. There's some parts of it that are amazing, that are so good. The Dabi ending, I actually low-key loved it. But, like, then I'm seeing clips from, like, and I have to, like, watch the episodes, actually get the context and to understand what all is happening. But, like, there's some things I love, some things I really hate. I'm not gonna lie. My Hero Academia is just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of goes back to our qualm about, like, plot armor and stuff. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, it just kind of kills some of the, like, stock you've built up in the show, like building these characters, whether they live or die. And, like, I don't know. If you try too hard to make it feel good and, like, you know, not every good guy has to live and win. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's my personal opinion, but I didn't love that either, and yeah, it just kind of feels like plot armor in a way.
Yeah, like it's something, all right. It's something.
And when you get more context to it, like, there is an aspect of it that's cool, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks. I'll definitely finish it out, but I kind of put that stuff on hold to binge all at once because, like, I saw One Piece is the anime's taking a break until, like, April 2025. So I'll probably go back when things slow down and watch that, or, like, over the holidays or something.
Yeah, like, I have another like 700 episodes. So I think that's gonna be a good time to like get back into that. Get those
Casual 700.
get those couple out of the way, catch up, then to come back, I'm right there. You know what I mean? It's like we never left.
Exactly. It's day one.
So like yeah, I'm kind of excited to get some more context, and again that's like for my plan for like those animes and some of the other ones that just didn't quite make the cut yet for this season. Just wait for the dub, wait a couple weeks, binge them in little piles, makes it a little bit more easier to consume. Again, we gotta ration this season, boys. We gotta fucking there's too much. There's too much. We're gonna overeat. You know what I mean? That's not gonna be good because then we're gonna get sick. All right, we gotta pace ourselves. We gotta focus on the primo stuff, the stuff that it really you have to worry about is the stuff that's gonna get spoiled. Watch that stuff. Everything else that's not like Shangri-La Frontier, I don't have to worry about that. I can wait on that a little bit. Same thing with Villainous. I don't think that's gonna get Kenshin. I don't think any of those are gonna get like massively spoiled because everyone's gonna be focusing on DanDaDan, Blue Box, Blue Lock, ReZero. Those are the ones that people are gonna be like posting immediately.
Very true. Yeah, and you don't want to get that stuff spoiled, but at the same time, I feel like I retain stuff a little bit better, and like some of those moments hit a little harder when you're watching, 2 or 3 episodes all together.
Yeah, and by the way, for you out there who watched ReZero, what the fuck was that second episode? What was that? What was that? Dude, bro, fucking ReZero is so good. But like, the end of the second episode, like
sus?
no, it's like really good, but at the same time, like, so pretty much, guys, if you haven't seen the second episode, skip ahead a little bit. But there's these arch witches, these kind of like cult leaders. Pretty much, it's hard to explain. You gotta like watch it to know. But they like make up kind of like the sins. So we're against Wrath right now. She was the one introduced at the end of the first episode, which is amazing. It's like, all right, well, this is gonna be the one that we fight this season. Awesome. Well, at the end of the second episode, Greed steps in, and we're like, yo, there's 2 of these motherfuckers? Like, I didn't know how we were gonna beat the first one. Now we got 2 at the same time, and you know what Greed wants? Our boy's girl. You know what I mean? Our
Naturally,
boy,
yeah.
Like, so now we got hands to throw. So I'm like, dude, ReZero is gonna be a mess this season, an absolute mess. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. It's gonna be sick. But yeah, dude, what a second episode. But I guess we got to get to Miss Servant then. That was a good episode this week as well, in my opinion.
Dude, that was super emotional. That was like fucking a really deep episode for like how early in the season we are. But I thought it was really good. It really gave you a good look at, I guess now Yuki. They did mention her real name. I forget what it was. It was like the Chinese word for snow, I believe. And Yuki's the Japanese like word for snow.
Well, she's kind of told us about it. She actually has multiple names. Because whatever master she gets, they give her a name, and that's what she's called. So she had multiple, which is why I'm kind of disappointed that our MC named her. I would have really liked it that she picked her own name. Because then when she moves on in life, she could still have that name. Now it's just another name a master gave her. So, like, I'm kind of disappointed.
I had that same thought. Yeah. I'm with you. I wanted her to, she just kept putting my boy on the spot. It was like, name the dog. Give me a name. And he delivered. I will give him credit. He performed well under pressure.
And that was nice that he took something that like kind of like hurt her, how she was like named after Snow because she's so cold and heartless and like cold-blooded killer. And he's like, no, like I'm gonna name you after Snow, like because like winter is like awesome. Everyone loves to see the snowfall. Snow is actually very warm and all this other stuff. And he took something that like really hurt her and made it something that she like ended up like really appreciating and like really kind of meant a lot to her. And that's been happening a lot the first 2 episodes. So like that was really nice to see. Yeah, but I think we're on the same page where we would have loved Yuki to have named herself because again, like it's not like they're gonna be with each other the rest of their lives. She's eventually gonna move on. They're that's life. So she's gonna move on to something else and she's gonna have like some new name. I don't know. I feel like they dropped the ball on that only, but other than that, the episode was phenomenal.
Yeah, it gave you like a really good look into like kind of where she feels insecure and like even those simple like daily activities like getting used to your dog or whatever, walking the dog and stuff like that. She was like, oh, is this what it means to be normal? And it's like you kind of felt bad for her because she's had such a abnormal life, and not in a good way. But also when he's like, yeah, the snow's warm, like, and you think if you were to make like an igloo or a fort in the snow, like it's warm when you're inside there. I'm like, that was smooth, dude.
Yeah.
What a line.
Bro's
this guy's
got
class. He's got riz. And like she's just sitting there saying her name over and over. It was like, all right, nicely done. Well played.
Next episode he's gonna say Yuki and it's gonna be a crit hit. She's gonna be on the floor, like incapacitated.
Yeah,
that
Definitely.
that was one thing that I thought was funny, but then I was instantly hit with like, oh, now I feel fucking bad. Is when she was afraid of the dog, and I was like, oh, this badass assassin's afraid of a little puppy, and then she talks about how she was hunted on a mountaintop by vicious wild dogs. I'm like, oh, now I feel like shit. Like that's cool. Like that sounds fucking
God,
traumatizing. That sounds fucking awful. You know what I mean?
I know.
But
Like
yeah,
sometimes, like in real life, if you're like, oh, I don't like dogs, or I'm not like an animal person, people are like, they kind of judge you, or there's that saying like, oh, if you don't like dogs, that's a bad sign or a red flag or whatever. But then she tells you a story like that, or if you were a kid and something happened, it's like, yeah, don't be, too quick to judge.
yeah.
I thought that was kind of sad. It was like, yeah, you don't know until you know what I mean?
And to be
So
honest, I feel like a lot of people that are afraid of dogs got attacked by a dog when they were younger. So like it always has some trauma linked to it. You know, even if to you see a nice small cuddly dog, to them they're like, I don't want to get bit again. Like that shit's fucking scary. You know what I mean? So like you can see it, and it's like to some people that's gonna be really relatable. But like I thought that insane growth from her. You expect the growth from our MC, not our Miss Servant, our Yuki, but a ton this episode where now she's holding the dog, she's petting the dog, she's feeding the dog. It's like, fuck yeah. Who knew that we'd be sitting here at the start of this anime season being like appreciating of a badass assassin, maid, who's
yeah,
who found the character development to end up petting a dog, and we're like, fuck yeah, this is what we needed this week.
it's perfect too. Like because a lot of this stuff, even Yakuza Fiance was like pretty intense. Like emotionally and physically, I was like, all right, that was not what I expected. So it's nice to have that anime where it's like, just kind of feels good. It's like a nice dynamic and not
Hmm.
too much insanity going on. There's a little bit of excitement here and there, but like, yeah, it's not insane. But I got to say, I'm pretty impressed because like their relationship has gone pretty well, all things considered. Like, um, he, I forget the MC's name. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, dude, I keep like telling myself like I gotta write down the names on like the paper, but I keep forgetting to do so. I'm doing that next week, and if I don't, I'm giving away a free Crunchyroll subscription. So there we go.
Love it. I love
There
it.
there we
Perfect
go.
motivation.
Yep.
But even he says it like he's like, I kind of misjudged you at first and was like, oh, having an assassin around won't be a good thing, and like it ends up, yeah, being a good thing. And she kind of like says the same thing about the dog and like goes out of her way to challenge herself and push herself, and she's just trying to be normal, but it's still like uncomfortable for her, and she's worried about making mistakes and stuff, which I feel like everybody can relate to. You know what I mean? Or you're starting a new job or you're at a new place and you want to make sure you do well. It's all very relatable, but yeah, you can't help but root for her and kind of feel bad that she's gone through all that she has, and I can't imagine she's very old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like it's crazy because like it's kind of like ironic, I guess is the word, because like she's trying to be normal, but she's like kind of being better than quote unquote normal people. Because a lot of normal people are just so unbelievably afraid of failure. They won't try things for the first time or new things. They are so afraid of being uncomfortable. They just want things easy, want things done right, don't want to mess up. You know what I mean? And like that's where you're not gonna find growth that way. And the fact that she keeps trying new things, she keeps pushing for more. She wants like this different life, and she's going for it, and it's scary, and she's making a lot of mistakes, but she's still doing it anyways. Like that's huge. That's way past normal. You know what I mean? Like that's an awesome thing, and you love to see it for her. This is definitely that anime where it's like it's the feel good anime of the season. Miss Servant is the feel good anime of the season. That's right there. That's it. It's just very enjoyable, very nice to watch. You got those wholesome moments, and you know what? These episodes, they fly by. They're so quick.
Yeah, it's just so easy to watch. You're
Hmm.
exactly right. I definitely think it is that kind of feel good anime this season, and it's just like I don't know, it's something good to watch. Like if I was a little younger, oh, but like when you were young, you know what I mean? Like I remember watching Naruto, and I actually just talked to my parents about this, like I don't know, a couple weeks ago or whatever. Like there's still like good moments, like I don't know, you're like talking about like friendship or like sticking up for weak people or whatever. You know what I mean? There's good themes in it, and even this, it's like very relatable. Like the themes are good. I don't know. It's not mindless garbage or like fan service or whatever. Like, I feel like it's well written, I guess, or for whatever audience, it's relatable and like applicable.
That's something I didn't realize until you just said it. This is like a very fan serviceable anime that they just didn't do. I
Yeah,
really fucking like that. Like I said, like because of course you have this, attractive assassin servant in a maid uniform. Like, okay, it kind of writes.
anything,
Yeah,
anything with a maid uniform gets like turned into fan service. I totally feel you, and I did have some of
yeah.
those expectations, or like, oh yeah, I could see it being that way. but it hasn't, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, because then they just focus on that kind of like feel good scenes where it's like she has a lot of not relatable but at the same time relatable problems that like she then kind of grows from and overcomes and to find the sense of normal. Because like being trapped on a mountainside where wild dogs are trying to kill you isn't really relatable, but having that fear of dogs or something of the sort is relatable. You know what I mean? So like it's nice. It's a good anime this season, especially with like the absolute lineup we have. There's a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of animes that are heavier, like Re:Zero. Blue Box is gonna, I mean not Blue Lock. Blue Lock is gonna be more intense, but I feel like Blue Box is gonna be intense. That's something where I heard it gets kind of crazy from the sports end, and at the end of the second episode, I'm not gonna say anything, but you're gonna see. We'll talk about it next week. But you know what I mean? It's gonna be a hell of a season. So having something like that, I feel like it's gonna be really nice.
Yeah, it is nice, and like you said, the episodes go really fast. Excuse me, because it's easy to watch, and like, yeah, it's not so intense, which I think adds a good balance between all the other heavy hitters, like you said, that we have. You go from watching Ichigo and guys like Deku and All Might, and then it's like, all right, yeah, just something, different pace, different speed.
Yeah, and yet it has a little bit of action still because she is an assassin. So I feel like we might get
She's
more of that
badass.
later. Yeah, we might see more about the MC's backstory because it seems like he's got stuff that was talked about and touched on in episode 1 that we didn't see here. So that's gonna be interesting because again, where the fuck's his kids' families? I mean, dude, like where are parents in anime? Like
Is this like a real thing? Like, I really don't know. You know what I mean? I can't imagine there's a ton of absent Japanese families with like high school age children living alone. Honestly, it's super funny, but yeah, an assassin maid just shows up one day. Yeah, no, mom and dad, I'm good. Some girl moved in. She's cool. She's a maid. She's an assassin. Oh, great, honey.
we're apparently related, like in some way, like not like to the assassin, but to her person that she worked for. So like it's like what the fuck, man. But interesting to say the least. So I think that's gonna be it though. Next week is gonna be one hell of a week, action packed. So many animes to be watching. I mean, the list I have is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I feel like we still have some missing. So. Wow, this is gonna be an interesting season, is it not, boys?
Peaktober, baby. It's real.
Peaktober, we're here for it. So, is there anything else you wanna add before we close out here?
I like Yakuza Fiance. I definitely want to know what you think, but if anybody else watched the first 2 episodes, I would love to know what they think. 'Cause that was it was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. It seems like it's got potential. It could be cool.
What's crazy is that I did see a clip from it, but I didn't read into it much. I'm gonna have to see it because you keep saying it's intense. I'm like, okay, let's see what this is gonna be about then.
The first episode I felt built really well. Kind of comes off you'll see in the first scene really kind of comical, and I'm like, all right, it'll be more romantic or a cutesy kind of slice of life. As she transfer schools and all that, and it's definitely not slice of life. I was like, all right, sick.
Shit.
Definitely, it was just not what I expected, and I think that impressed me. But I think you'll like it. Hopefully, it's well reviewed kind of right now, even though there's only 2 episodes. So hopefully people dig it. It seemed pretty cool, and obviously the characters are designed to be attractive, which doesn't hurt.
All right, I'll take your word for it. I'll check it out. It does seem like it's gonna be pretty cool. Like I said, I did see a short, and it did look interesting. So I'm excited to check that out. So again, next week, guys, the podcast is gonna be action packed. Blue Lock, Miss Servant. We're gonna be talking about Blue Box, 2 episodes there. Yakuza Fiance, 2 episodes there. We're gonna be talking about a whole lot of stuff. So if you guys are excited, I don't even know. So I guess we'll see you guys there. I lost my brain power. I'm hungry. All right, that's it. Hope you guys had a fantastic week. Hope you guys enjoyed this week, and we'll see you next week for some more great anime. That is it. Peace.